Good evening, everyone, and once again, thanks for coming here today. I want to take you through some of the highlights of our film. Everyone knows how the film was received by people, but sometimes, in the course of other things, we sometimes forget small little things which are extremely important, and that's why I would like to read out a few things to you. The Kashmir Files is the first Indian film based on video testimonials of the first generation victims of Kashmiri Hindu genocide, which is the longest and continuous genocide of a minority community in the history of humanity. The Kashmir Files is perhaps the only mainstream film in the history of cinema which was shown pre-release to more than 10,000 people across the world, spread over 24 cities without fearing the commercial repercussions. It is important to mention this because no filmmaker worth his salt would show a film to thousands of people due to the fear of, bad word or mixed reaction that may go out. We were absolutely confident because our film is based on truth and only the truth. These screenings were organized by 36 humanitarian organizations ranging from World Sikh Organization to Telugu Association, to Jews Association, to even Physicians Association. 36 organizations with proven track record in public service, spreading the message of peace, love and humanity. This is one achievement every Indian, or actually I would say that every human being can be proud of. The Kashmir Files is the first Indian film which was given a congressional reception at the Capitol in the USA. We were also invited to prestigious scholarly academic institutions like the Harvard Club, University of Massachusetts, Georgia Tech University, Universities of Denver and Houston, and Stanford University. We were also invited to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. and Martin Luther King Memorial in Atlanta. I'm extremely proud to inform you that now we are being invited to many prestigious universities in Europe, including Oxford, Cambridge, Warwick University. We are also invited to speak at the British Parliament and many other prestigious places in Netherlands, Germany, Israel, Geneva, where we are invited to to talk at the World Human Rights Organizations. Our Europe tour is centered around the theme, India and her role in world peace and humanity. The Kashmir Files, in our knowledge, is the only film from India which has been given proclamations from various states and cities of USA, acknowledging and endorsing the inhuman genocide of the Kashmiri Hindus. The Kashmir Files is the most reviewed film on the internet, with reviews coming from all across the world, from white Americans, African Americans, Jews, Christians, Muslims, Yazidis, Pakistanis, Buddhists, and people from almost all faiths, ethnicities, and nationalities. And this has reinforced our belief that empathy and humanity cuts across religion and politics. The Kashmir Files has opened up international markets where no Indian film of this size has ever been released. And this wasn't planned by us. It was done on popular demand by the people. And it ran to jam-packed houses in Kenya, Mozambique, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Japan, and even Lithuania and Estonia, where there are hardly any Indians. This truly has become a people's film. And it is still running successfully in its 9th week in the USA. And it has already crossed its million mark long ago. And this is an honor which even the big-budgeted top star films can't achieve. The Kashmir Files released in one theatre in Kerala, but by popular demand increased to 120 screens within a few days and ran full for over 4 weeks. Same in Tamil Nadu and Bengal, where Hindi films of this size don't even release. And I must mention here that what really saddens us is the fact that the film made on Kashmir cannot be shown in Kashmir because there are no movie theaters there anymore. And it's a very, very sad commentary. And I hope that humanitarian media would focus on this issue here where, the free speech is served in Kashmir. On return on investment basis, the Kashmir Files, as some of you may know, was made in 15 crores and has done over 350 crores business worldwide and is still running successfully. Also, our tickets were very cheap. But had they been as expensive as the current South Indian blockbusters, then Kashmir Files would have crossed many more milestones. It released in Israel last week and it's running to full house with hundreds of teary-eyed Jews, and their reactions are pouring in every day on the internet. It's releasing in the Philippines on the 6th. When the film released, the IMDb rating was 10 on 10, but then many genocide deniers tried to cancel our ratings, and IMDb used some strange formula under pressure and locked our ratings to 8.3. When people kept voting 10 on 10, it still wouldn't increase. Even so, 8.3 is still a very, very high rating. In the history of world cinema, the Kashmir Files is the only film which has found unprecedented honor of becoming a mass movement where even the poorest of poor have been distributing free tickets to the youth. And this is something that entire humanity can be proud of. And just to give an unprecedented example, Times Square in New York is known to be the most prestigious and the most expensive advertising site. When Vivek and I reached US in 2019 for our research, we had seen a hoarding of free Kashmir. And that was the time when we thought to ourselves how good it would be if Kashmir Files can be featured on the Times Square. Last year in November and December, when we showed this film in more than 16 cities, the people who saw the film, the fans of this film, collected money on their own, and for the first time in Times Square, the entire map of Kashmir was shown. Then the billboard of the Kashmir Files was on, in which you can see the entire map of Kashmir, and never in the history has it happened, because in the West they always take out दोनों साइड के सर निकाल देते हैं. This entire map of Kashmir was on full display for 2 days, 26th January, our Republic Day, and 27th of January. And this was done by all the fans. And I can narrate many firsts, but we should come back to the purpose of this film. The first purpose of making this film was to make the world acknowledge that the genocide of Kashmiri Hindus indeed happened. Acknowledgement is the first step to justice. We achieved it globally and more than we ever expected. Our second purpose was to heal the Kashmiri Hindu community, where the real empathy, which is a real empathy and humanity. And you must have seen hundreds of videos where victims are hugging us and saying that their healing has now begun. But in the end, I would like to read out 2 letters from the families of 2 victims whose heart-wrenching stories you have seen in the film. The first one is B.K. Ganju's story, where he was killed in a rice drum and his wife was made to eat the blood-soaked rice. And the other of Girija Tikku, who was unfortunately gang raped first and then cut alive on a saw machine. So the first one is from B.K. Ganju's family. Respected Vivekji and Pallaviji, my name is Diksha Ganju. I am the daughter of late Shri B.K. Ganju, whose gruesome killing was highlighted in the movie, The Kashmir Files, which made people around the world cry. His death was completely horrifying and traumatic for us, especially my mother, who has become a physical wreck after it. We decided to bury this pain in our heart and never talked about it, or even my dad, as an act of self-preservation. But after 32 years, this movie forced us to relive that pain. It is extremely hard, but at the same time, I believe it is helping us heal. This movie made it possible for us to celebrate my dad's life and sacrifice. I would like to express my gratitude from the bottom of my heart to both of you, as well as the entire Kashmir Files team. It would not have been possible without your efforts. And the second message is from Girija Tikku's family. We watched your movie today, My late sister Girja Tikku was a brave girl, and we never discussed or even talked about her at home. The whole family was going through depression and guilt of not being able to do anything for her. Few years back, Sunanda Vashisht spoke about her brutal killing in DC. Now you've showed her sacrifice in this movie. We've started talking about her within our family. Your movie is starting the healing process within the traumatized family, within the traumatized families. And I think this message is probably bigger than Oscar for us. And so now I leave it to your conscience and your good judgment. If this is not healing and humanity, then what is? Thank you very much.
Namaskar. Thank you very much for coming, and Vivekji, thank you very much for inviting me to talk to media here. Let me, at the very first, thank on behalf of Kashmiri Pandit community, on behalf of Global Kashmiri Pandit Diaspora, to Vivek Agnihotri and Pallavi for this great movie. This has shaken us. This movie has shaken us. It is once again, we have seen what happened to our my community in 89 and 90. 20,000 houses burnt, 1,660 people killed in few months, 450 temples burnt and destroyed. And do you think it is not genocide? And what is then genocide? If you talk of my family, I lost my 7 family members, my friends, and 1 boy from my office. He was stabbed. If this is not genocide, what is genocide? For last 32 years, we tried our best. We organized nearly 10,000 corner meetings, press conferences, met leaders, associations, telling us this is genocide. Please listen to us. Do some redressal for this genocide. We went to National Human Rights Commission and fought there for 8 years. And thank you very much to his P.N. Lekhiji, peace to his soul. He fought with us for 8 years. And at the end, the former Chief Justice of India, Venkat Chalaya, who was the chairman of Human Rights Commission, National Human Rights Commission, he said that Kashmiri Pandits suffered akin to genocide. There is no word akin to genocide, it is a genocide. And I testify, my community testify, because Global Kashmiri Pandit Diaspora, Kashmiri Pandits gave 750 interviews to Pallavi and Vivek and to his team. I guarantee it on behalf of my community that it is 800% true. Each and every event, whatever is shown in this film is real. It is not fiction. If I am standing here, sitting here in front of you, it is real. So Kashmir file is real. Every event, everything is real. We tried many times to meet the acclaimed media channels. I may call BBC and CNN and other world channels, Al Jazeera, but they have nothing for us. They wanted to promote separatist narrative, jihadi narrative of Kashmir. They don't want to talk about our genocide as if we don't exist. But we are 100% educated people. As you know, Kashmiri Pandits are from generations 100% educated. We challenge them and we make sure that this, our story, our genocide will reach to each and every corner of the world. And I assure Vivek Agnihotri, Pallavi said that 1 million has crossed, and one time it will be nearly billion. Because it is for the first time in India that this movie has come which is on a topic which people want to know, people want to understand what is happening. And some people think it is future of India if we don't act now. So Vivek Agnihotri has done greatest karma, not only for Kashmiri Pandits, Kashmiri Hindus or for Kashmir, but he has done greatest karma for India. Now, our big job, I was very much excited when Vivek Agnihotri ji said that we are organizing press conference on 5th in Foreign Correspondents Club. I was very much excited that now is the opportunity to talk to foreign media who are nearly 100, 200 people here. But I was shocked when he told me that it is cancelled. It is cancelled because of design. They want to promote anti-India narrative. They want to promote anti-Modi narrative. That is not my topic here. My topic is to tell to the world what happened in Kashmir. And it is not only victimhood, it is real, it is real. And nobody still believes that something like this will happen in this 21st century in civilized world, that one of our daughters will be cut in Ari se usko kata jayega with the saw. And 4 people, my uncle, auntie, they were watching Mahabharata and they were killed there. Well, don't you think this is genocide? Then what is genocide? What are these foreign correspondents doing here? They cannot see this is drama. If there is some incident in village, somewhere in India, they will play it so big on CNN and on Al Jazeera and other televisions, defaming India. But exodus of 500,000 people is no story for them. It has no value. Because as if Hindus doesn't exist, as if Kashmiri Pandits doesn't exist. Kashmir is the fountainhead of Indian culture for 10,000 years. It has produced Vedas, Upanishads, great Abhinav Gupta. And these foreign correspondents must know that on Abhinav Gupta and Kashmir Shaivism, 100 universities world over are doing research on this, on philosophy or Sarvastivada or Buddhism. But they won't talk about that. They have some design and they want to promote that kind of design which is anti-India, I may say frankly, anti-Hindu. And so they don't see this our story. If you go on UN Charter, what it says about the genocide and human rights, our case is fit, which United Nations could take it. But let all Indian media take the call. I'll unite and expose all these elements who are not doing professional job. It is not professional. A journalist's job or media job is to tell the true story. They should come forward and narrate what happened in Kashmir, how everything collapsed. As Agnihotri ji said, that we even Kashmiris, we never said anything against Muslims in all these 32 years. We never said anything about Islam, but we definitely will say that terrorists, jihadi elements are responsible for our genocide. Is it a joke that 500,000 people left Kashmir? So this nation has to rise, all media people has to rise and expose these elements who are bent upon defaming India, promoting separatists and promoting anti-India narrative. Thank you very much.
Talk collectively to the foreign media. Now, as GTPD's media coordinator as well, I can't tell you how much time we spend every day refuting all these allegations by the foreign media, whether it's Washington Post or the Times or the BBC, because every day there's an article coming, this movie is untrue, this didn't happen, this is Islamophobic. And because we have taken it upon ourselves to collectively refute every single allegation. So that's why I was happy that together we'll answer all their questions. But that wasn't to be. Not that I hold the foreign media in any special regard. You know, we have stalwarts like Manoji here. You know, I was 18 when I was reading his articles in 1990. He was one of the very few correspondents, I must say, who covered it. So when we have stalwarts like him, we don't need foreign press. But like Utpalji said, we were happy, okay, let's together answer all the difficult questions. And we were looking forward to it. And then we got this shocker that they have cancelled it. And then we got another shocker that our own press club has cancelled it as well. But anyway, that's in the past. We are here today, and you all are here. And this is our chance to talk about it. Now, as Dimple said, I am a psychiatrist by profession. You know, ours is a traumatized community. We are, you see us sitting here, you know, we've got high-end jobs, some of us, and we are all over the world. But that was in Majburi, you know, when you are thrown out of your homeland, what do? You know, I went to United Kingdom to get my specialist training. Someone went to US, someone went to Australia. What do you do when you're thrown out of your home overnight? But I was still the lucky one. You know, unlike Utpalji, I didn't lose my first, you know, by my parents or my brothers. But I have friends whose father was hacked into 50 pieces and thrown in the dustbin. So I have grown up, I have lived my life being blighted. My entire life is blighted by these stories, if I can tell you. And then as a psychiatrist, you know, I'm in a foreign country. PTSD is a very well-recognized phenomenon, especially in the West. It's not that recognized here. But our community, we have got something called collective PTSD. You know, it's impossible not to have PTSD when you have gone through what we all have gone through. So it is almost impossible to come out of this trauma unscathed. And that's what has happened to us. Now, Vivekji, obviously we are indebted to him for life. You know, the reason is for 32 years, nobody talked about it. There was media whitewash. Nobody wrote about it, nobody talked about it. As individuals, we were left, you know, I have written books on it. I mean, not major books, but I've published books, talked about my stories. It's only because as an individual, I took it upon myself that I need to let the world know. But there was no help coming, you know, from filmmakers or major foreign correspondents or whatever, or Indian press. And now we have someone who has been brave enough to write, to talk about us, to make a film on us. You know, this is a watershed moment for our community. And that's why you see us, you know, you see us following him around. You know, he's like a messiah for us. So he has a press conference. If I had to come, I was here on holiday anyway, but if I had to come from London to accompany him, I would have come. Because this is our investment in the movie. Because like I said, for the first time in 32 years, this has happened to us. Now coming back to my specialization, you know, like I said, collective PTSD is real. You know, and one of the things in PTSD, what you have to do, you have to talk about it. You know, that is the healing process. You have to talk about it, but you have to talk about it in a safe space and amongst people who empathize with you, not people who are hostile to you. So you just heard Palviji read the letter. So we've had thousands of people like Mr. Ganju's daughter who have now come out and who are now telling us their story 32 years later. Now the least the media or whatever foreign media can do is to give them a safe space to talk about it. And not every time someone says, oh, this happened to me, someone jumps on them and says, no, this didn't happen to you. No, this is all fiction. And the whole thing about the vilifying a particular community, that I think is laughable. Because nowhere in the movie, any community has been vilified. All it has shown is the truth. Yeah? So again, coming back to what has happened to us, thank you all for coming today, you know, providing us, thank you to firstly to Vivekji, of course, for providing us this safe space to talk about this. Now, the least the media can do is to support us now. You know, you don't have to do some miracles. All you need to do is to say, yes, you have told your story. It is a true story. You have our support in whatever way. I mean, 32 years is a long time, you know, for things like this. What has happened, you know, and there's no resolution for us. But all people can do is to support us. And that you all have come here, that is a big thing for us. And foreign correspondents, if there's anyone here who's from a foreign media, please do come out and ask the questions, you know. It's not about Islamophobia. You don't say, oh, well, Jews, there was Germanophobia or whatever. You know, people talk about Bosnia, Bosnia, Croatia. People just tell their stories. So when there's any atrocities anywhere in the world, the forest correspondents just run there. They cover the story. They talk about it. There are debates. So I find it really hard to understand why people are trying to whitewash it. Now, I know the reason for that. The reason is because there's this thing about India. You know, you can't criticize India. You know, we are ruling at the top of the world. You know, coming from United Kingdom, I can tell you we are doing extremely well in all spheres, whatever, finance, economy, whatever. So this is the easiest thing. You know, this is like a low-hanging fruit in India to talk about this Hindu-Muslim binary. It does not exist, certainly not in the movie. But I think the foreign media just picks upon because it's the easiest thing to talk about, that we'll talk about this and vilify India. So I find, I don't even talk about it. Vivekji, obviously, he has talked about it a lot, but it's kind of laughable. We should totally avoid talking about it, yes? But what we should really do, we should talk about our story. You know, you are our voices now because we are a very minuscule community. We are, you know, and then we are spread. We are spread across 15 countries or 20 countries, wherever. So people of India are going to be our voice now, and this is what the movie has done. It has exponentially, collectively raised our voice. I mean, Utpalji is a publisher. He has written books on it. He has spent his whole life talking about it. But the movie has done much more. Movie has collectively, the world is now talking about us. There are obviously a few, you know, CNN, Washington, they will come up with negative publicity, but I think we should just ignore them. And I think what these people do, they try and get people from our community. See, every community has got people who, for whatever reasons, whether there's their personal life, whether they are paid, whatever their personal biases, or they want to, because it's, you know, people try to be left-wing or whatever, you call them liberal or whatever. So people have their own agenda. So the foreign media, what they think that by catching these people from our community and making them say things like, oh, this is not true, this didn't happen to our community, they are somehow going to justify, you know, whatever. But that's not true. I mean, in our community, we do have like 4 or 5 people. You can count them on their fingers. But it's best to collectively ignore these people. As a community, we ignore these people. We don't talk about them. And I think the media also should ignore them. They do not represent us. They have their own compulsions. I don't want to go into details. But as a community, we disown this. With any narrative which says that the movie is fake, as a community, collectively, we are disowning this movie. Okay, so that's the thing I wanted to say. As part of GKPD, we are the intellectual research partners of the movie. As Dimple has said, we have been with Vivekji through this journey of the last 4 years, and we are here now. We are grateful. Grateful is a very small word for us to say for Vivekji. So it's much more than gratitude. I mean, Vivekji is still touring. He's going to come to United Kingdom next month. He'd speak to parliamentarians there. It's because of him now we have got a voice. I mean, who's going to listen to me? If I tell my story, you know, not even 5 people are going to listen to me. But if there's a movie, and that too a super hit movie, by a reputed filmmaker, thousands of people are going to listen to it. And that's been the success. Thank you all for coming.